Alright, what's going on, guys? Restarted the channel. It is now Northern RC Customs. As you can see, we do have a 4x4 Camaro. It is getting completely custom made axles though, because these do not fit and I cannot afford 8 scale axles, nor would those correctly fit. I then have this giant thing here, and I say giant because it is 4 feet long, using it as a slight storage table to it. LED strips from a LED flat screen TV. A friend of mine was crafting, asked what I wanted them, so I said sure. No idea if they actually want to work. Might make a neon kit for this, so they do want to work. The whole plan with this is to run 2 of these bastards to 775. I gotta put the sheath back on it. Sit kind of right in here. Got dual servos. Currently zip tied in there. They're not actually attached to the truck yet. But surprisingly, they're in there because of this aluminum plate. But the whole plan with this truck is have 2 motors, 2 transmissions in it. See if that'll actually want to work. Do have one nice center drive shaft that I had to custom make because of the length of this truck. Kind of hidden behind this right here, which actually completely stiffens the frame up. Here's one end of the drive shaft. If I want to this focus, the other end actually just stick out here. I already got rear suspension set up on this. It does work. You know, it looks kind of weird. Front suspension also does work somewhat flawlessly. I've actually adjusted my servos and they actually want to stay in place. Also, this is going to be its own vehicle. It's just in the process of being able to get money to get materials, so I might build a frame for this. Eventually we're going to do a complete rebuild on the 2-wheel drive Slash. And then this thing I bought from local Walmart for $50. And they sell an excessively expensive version of this online. So this is going to get turned into an actual hobby grade one of these days. And then I have a boat, which is also being used as storage space. So, yeah. No, the whole point to this channel is we're going to be building RC cars of basically any size. Oh, yeah, there's also 2 Tonka trucks over here that I can combine into one. This is just a complete mess. I got to clean still. I already did all this. So I got to do the top of that. That probably would just get organized into the toolbox. That just going to get it probably partially thrown away and then organized. Although we can move on to the bed here. This actually has been resized, as you can see. Added a whole 2 inches to it, cut about 1 inch off of the dually flares on each side, so it would look a little more correct. And then redid the floor entirely. But as you could just see from a second ago, does have a functioning tailgate. I just got to make it to where it wants to just sit here and not fall anymore. It's probably end up using some of this cable I got. But it uses magnets and some steel strips to somewhat hold it in place, but it's not working that well. It basically just frictions itself into place. Eventually, I'm going to be using the same kind of tires here. Hold on. Oh, yep, that's not attached. So I'm just going to be using 3 sets of these. I did figure out a way to be able to attach them together, and these are custom painted and they're kind of shitty because they've been scratched. Essentially about here, I want to start to look somewhat scaled, even though it's got a Ford front suspension on it. Do have a rear bumper that I gotta attach to the frame though. Made that because the original bumper was made out of foam board, but now I had to extend it like 1 inch in each center part, so it had the indent in the center still there, but wasn't really working out anymore. Oh, that's like I'm trying to do this all one-handed. This, though, does have a frame. It has been driven, basically just using the two-wheel drive slash's rear end as a transmission. And the drive shafts have fallen apart 8 times on it. I've essentially rebuilt the drive shafts. They don't fall apart anymore. Actually, I think the table showed suspension in it. There are hinges on there, because originally I was trying to make the body hinge to the side. Those are getting removed. But having twin I-beam suspension in the front doesn't like just going straight down and back up. But here, it does fold correctly to a leaf spring. I mean, I got the front suspension essentially. Ignore background noise. We're doing construction or whatever across the road for me. Although, a little background now on some shit. One, this channel is not intended to be child friendly. I like cussing. 2, I am an adult. That's partially why. But for about almost 3 years, I'd had a channel called Haggard RC, and that ended up just kind of being a complete fail. And not really having money most of the time. Couldn't afford to keep this thing running half the time, which was mostly steering servo related. It does run currently, but it needs bearings for both front tires. And one of them actually needs a new wheel hub. Which, I mean, those aren't hard to get. I could get a whole complete hub set for like $15 with bearings, so just gonna do another one of those. Have some extras to the rear, since one of the few things I've broke is actually a rear hub on this before. Body is falling apart, as you can see. And as you can tell from this part, it is actually the 2017 Pink Edition body, because that was how I bought it. I felt like being different. But frame's been painted a couple times. This got installed so I could do a tire mount in the rear. Now it's kind of useless, so I don't know where the back piece went. I think it might have got thrown away. Suspension's quite soft still, though. It's just a little too soft for this plate here. I gotta stiffen the rear. But back to the history of the old channel. It just got to where some shit was going on, and I wasn't gonna be able to continue filming for a while, since the channel had been a bit of a fail. Even though I had like 140 something videos up, I think. I ended up deciding to just delete the channel entirely until I was able to restart it. Which this will be the intro video to Northern RC Customs. I almost said Haggard RC Customs. This will be the intro to Northern RC Customs, where essentially you guys will be witnessing the build process on this. A 6x6 Tonka truck. That getting turned into essentially a somewhat scale King of the Hammers truck, mostly out of the fact that it wouldn't fit this frame. You'll be seeing this thing getting finished, tested, somewhat abused. Probably not with the body on if I go to abuse it, because this is a somewhat hard to find body. Because it's a little hard in my area to find someone selling a 2006 1/6 scale Jada Big Time Muscle Camaro. So that body would be somewhat for show, and I've already broken it driving around. The body's cracked, as you can kind of see right there in the front. Ripped the rear bumper off entirely at one point, so it's literally held on by no joke paper clips. Just have custom made spoiler with the original channel name on it. And I do want to redo the frame entirely, because this frame's kind of shot. Or kind of shitty from how I built it. But I did build a bumper, so it doesn't flex the front end anymore as much if I do hit something with it. But as you can see here from me trying to drive it, it does doesn't go too well when this thing wants to tip on its side, because due to the axle being about 10-ish inches wide and the outer part of the body and frame coming out to almost 13 inches, it gets a bit of body roll. And the shocks are actually stiffened up a bit, so it doesn't really help. They feel really soft still. But no, this was not what started the channel. I actually had a 16 scale 4x4 slash. That's what started the channel. And technically the channel started a year late. In all honesty, I was doing haggard shit way before I started the channel, and it kind of ended like a month after I started doing haggard shit. And then I started trying to go fixing stuff legitimately. Like, this even has a metal front end. Granted, it's a cheap alloy front end, but it's metal. And I've kind of beaten the shit out of it and haven't broke anything. The story behind the control arms, though, is because I hit a pole at like 10 miles an hour and like -5 degrees, and just snapped it in half. The center bulkhead was honestly just so it would stiffen that up a little too. And then the rear, besides breaking drive shafts on a stock motor, I've broken this hub once. Completely in any of the bearing holes in one of the fronts. Don't remember which. And granted, I have 2 batteries for it, so that the oversized batteries, one of them's junk. It doesn't want to hold the charge, it doesn't want to give out. I was probably zoom back out. Forgetting I'm zoomed in. But over the last 3 months, I've practically filled a notebook with sketches either related to that, which is a mostly cut up 6 scale Dodge Ram body, which I did put the logo of the old channel on it, because as you can see, I've had this for a while. If it has the old channel logo on it, and it's been gone for a year. I just knocked the 775 off the thing that was sitting up there. More shit falling over here. I had this car actually the longest out of all those. Originally, it was an actual car, obviously. It's not like you really could find a 4x4 solid axle Camaro. But I had acquired this when I was 12, shortly before I got 16th scale 4x4 slash, which I kind of have. It's not here, but it's completely torn apart in a box with, hilariously, a second 16 scale slash. I had a thing of buying a new truck every 3 years, but instead, we're just going to rebuild this instead of buying a new one. Because I've actually had no real issues with this. It's just starting to get a little worn out. Surprisingly, though, after 3 years of driving it, I still have oil in the shocks. Never once had to refill the shocks and oil. I actually quite surprised by that, because I like jumping out of this thing. I did trim the front bumper, though, because I thought it looked a little cooler like this. The rear's only trimmed like this, and this is a 16 scale slasher mini wheelie bar. This is trimmed because I was actually hauling a trailer with it, which is sitting over here. Which is hilarious, because this fits on that trailer with no issues. But that looks small sitting on it. If you guys want, I can show you what that looks like. Here's basically one view of this, with the Camaro hauling the slash on a trailer, or this is the view 2 of this. Although this is probably how this is going to be, because this truck is actually being built for towing. And this is 4 feet. That trailer's about 3 feet. The car's almost 3 feet. So this is 7 feet by itself. I'm 6'2", for reference. Also, next video, we're probably putting a body on this. So as you can see, that's made of foam board. That's getting a foam board body. But that is going to be for it for today, guys. Do not have an actual upload schedule set yet. Because of how life's going, it's going to be kind of random. Going to go between, it could be anywhere from 2 days from now to a month from now that I put another video up. Just depends on how shit's going to be going. But anybody does watch this, like and subscribe. Some crazy shit in the future. Later.